There is only one silver lining to the media feeding frenzy about President Biden's future. They are finally paying attention to Kamala Harris, and they like what they see. Now, that doesn't mean she wouldn't be under attack too if they succeed in bullying Biden out, because this is not a Biden old problem so much as a Vice President Black and female one. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli from crooksandliars.com, and we're hoping Aliza Worthington will join us later.
Yeah.
Karoli, you want to take a deep breath before we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay.
When we started this show, we were laughing because it's like so friggin' much it's almost too much to process all the time.
Well, Saturday afternoon, here on the West Coast, we get the news about the attempted assassination. I mean, this, if I were Stefan on SNL, I'd say, election 2024, it's got everything. It's got, can't you just see Bill Hader just describing madness of this all? If you enjoyed 2016, wait till you
love 2024. You'll love 2024. It's going to be great. We even have Jake Tapper tweeting all the bad things about Biden because that's what Jake Tapper does. He doesn't. Oh God. Anyway, but why don't we start out with the good things before we
start out with the good things? Last week we had an interview with a Senate candidate in North Dakota. She's North Dakota Senate candidate, Katrina Christiansen. We talked about an ad that she put out, which is what got our attention in the first place.
Yep.
And this week we've got that ad to show you. So let's roll tape.
When I was a little girl, a wolf hunted our family farm. It wasn't content to pick off a chicken or the family dog. It wanted the whole farm. My father found work, but the wolves found him. My parents always thought they'd catch a break, but they never did. The wolves came for mom and pop stores. They came for cheap prescription medicine. They came for affordable homes. They came for college loans. Forget inflation. Wages never kept up with corporate greed. So I went to school on scholarship. I became an agricultural engineer, fell in love, found a great job, started a family, had 3 kids, and invented 2 patents for Cargill, and made them a killing. When the wolves came to reorganize the company, they found me too. Their first solution every time, cut jobs. Because to them, we're the problem. It's not their risky behaviors. It's not their bad investments. It's our livelihoods, our healthcare, our mortgages, our working class dreams. I'm Katrina Christiansen. I'm running for U.S. Senate because Congress hasn't passed meaningful antitrust, pro-family legislation in almost 100 years. They abandoned family farms. They abandoned American manufacturing. They turned healthcare into a $1 trillion industry. And they let Amazon and Walmart hunt family businesses to extinction. Wolves. And Congress hasn't culled the pack since Teddy Roosevelt was president. I'm an engineer, and I can tell you, problems like we're facing don't fix themselves. We gotta be tougher and smarter and more stubborn than the forces that are bankrupting the American middle class. My kids have no concept of the poverty I grew up with, the insecurity and shame. And as long as they're under my roof, they won't. And our senator should feel that way about us. Should be protective of each of our children. Our rights, our health, our land and water, our safety, our national security. Our senators shouldn't be afraid to face the wolves.
That was a freaking great ad.
Wow. And also, I don't know if you got the email from her campaign today.
I
She's
did.
2 points ahead of the incumbent Republican
I
that
know.
she's running against.
So help her because she stands for, as if you watched the interview last week, she stands for all the policies that Biden has tried to put in for the middle class and to grow the economy up from the middle out. And she's awesome. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. And if you have, give her a donation.
Katrina for USSenate.com.
Yes. Okay. Now we can get to bad
now we have to go to bad. Okay, do we want to talk about crazy Republicans or feckless Democrats first?
Well, let's talk about crazy Republicans because they are, but with one caveat, that they're not just crazy, they're liars. So, and one of the things they basically lied about through the whole convention was they never, ever said the word abortion or pro-life during any of their speeches, that like they wanted to pretend like that's not a thing.
As if they haven't talked about that nonstop for 40 years.
Exactly. Bing, bing, bing. Yes. So here we are, and we're these so-called pro-life people are like waving around signs saying mass deportation now, and which was
what
just
about the ones with bandages on their ear? These people who would not wear a mask during COVID are now, cosplaying.
I know it's Trump's so stupid. Sanitary pat on the ear, right? I mean, so stupid, but it's a cult. I mean, this is what cult people do. They're like, I'm in solidarity with my dear leader. I've got a thing on my ear. And we have to talk about that for just a second, because first of all, there was a crazed dude, I think, who wanted to commit suicide and decided he was going to go out with a bang.
I also think that, I remember when I was at the 2008 Democratic Convention, and there were all these anarchists coming to demonstrate. And one of the other MOMocrats asked them, are you going to be doing this at the Republican convention too? And he said, no. And she said, why not? Because this one is in our town. So this guy was not just, looking to go out in a blaze of glory, but, Trump came to him, because he was researching Biden's appearances, Trump's appearances, a member of the British royal family.
Right.
And Trump shows up in his community.
Right. So he was right there.
How convenient. Time of opportunity.
Yeah.
He was ready to kill somebody.
Right.
And he wanted it to make a splash.
And he did. I mean, he did kill a firefighter, and which is tragic.
It's tragic.
Who was protecting his family.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful that bullet did not hit Trump, because it would have made a martyr out of him. And
can you imagine? We're talking about the craziness of what is happening right now. I don't love Trump, but I want him to go by natural causes.
Exactly. I don't want anybody to shoot him. And now, with that said, I also have trouble believing that the wound that caused him to bleed was necessarily caused by a bullet. It could have been. It could, I guess. I mean, I think a bullet would have taken off more of a piece of his ear than it did.
We have seen so much subterfuge and manufactured images out of the liars campaign.
Yeah.
That in our little group chat, we immediately went to conspiracy theories,
right.
Because we've just seen it too many times. That's what you do when you can't trust what they're presenting to you.
Right. And we also abandoned them and didn't speak them in public. And I'm not speaking that now. What I am saying is that he needs to get a medical report out to everybody that tells us exactly what happened to him, because it could have been the bullet. It could have been shrapnel.
Yeah.
From,
We
I
want to
mean, there
know
were
why
other.
every other presidential candidate or president,
Mhm.
when something like this happens, we get a full report. We know what Joe Biden's oximeter reading is after he got COVID.
Right.
Then, we know way more than that. And I'm not talking about Ronnie Jackson
No.
examining his ear.
No. We need an official report from somebody who's not a
From
drunk.
the hospital where he
Yeah.
was treated.
Right. And the thing is that it's more because the only reason I'm questioning it is, sure, yes, he was injured, but
Mhm.
I want to know, was it shrapnel? Was it a bullet? What was it? And other cops in that area were injured by shrapnel.
Yeah.
So it isn't unthinkable to think that that's what it was. Of course, he's going to play this up forever now. I mean, he opened his speech at the convention with this tale of horror and whatever. And blood was coming out of everywhere, and I
Okay,
could not.
like Megyn Kelly.
He said that, and I could not resist saying out of his whatever.
Oh.
Oh, so it's just that it's going to be urban legend now. He's going to make this story. It's going to be in every rally. It's going to be everywhere. He's going to make himself into some kind of a hero, and everybody's going to be wearing pads on their ears. I mean, it's just. But other than that,
I'm glad he was not killed.
oh
I'm
yeah, same.
sorry for Corey, the firefighter who
Right.
was.
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too.
bad for his family. That man died a hero, taking care of his family. And
No, I
shielding
agree. He
them from
did. I have to say, it's a little bit frustrating that, President Biden called his widow to express his condolences, and she wouldn't talk to him. And the reason she wouldn't talk to him is because her husband was a devout Republican. Those were her
doubt.
words,
Yes.
devout. And he wouldn't approve of her talking to Biden, but she appreciated the fact that he called. And she was
Yeah.
generous. It wasn't a hateful statement. I want to make that
No.
clear.
No.
It was, but it was so sad to me
Yeah.
that we're in a place in our country where you can you have to not talk to somebody because you're of your husband or your your deceased husband's party affiliation. I mean, that's not. I mean, fine. He was a big Trumper. That's cool, but I don't know if the president of the United States calls, and so I tried to think in reverse, like when Trump was there a time when Trump was calling people? I mean, the thing is, he didn't call people.
That was the thing. He
Yeah,
had to be forced to call people, and then when he did, he was insulting to them.
right, right. So,
But Joe Biden, who does the right thing and reaches out,
mhm,
no matter what someone's political affiliation is, he looks at the human being first. And
right.
such a decent man who is being treated so indecently. But we're still talking about the Republicans.
Yeah, let's talk about the Republicans. So, in addition to the fact that they didn't mention the fact that they want a nationwide abortion ban, and make no mistake, they want a nationwide abortion ban. And there was a lot of people at at the convention that were pissed about the fact that there was no mention of it in the platform, and they were going to stage a big protest on the convention floor over the platform, and didn't because he got shot. So it was like that blew that out of the water too. So and I can understand why, but still they've got to have their feet to the fire, and they cannot use the excuse, oh well, we didn't say anything in the platform about it. I'm sorry. And Trump is not going to be he's not going to be able to resist bragging about how he got rid of Roe anyway. So
No. And they don't need to have it in the platform because it's already in Project 2025.
exactly. And that's what we should be focusing on, because
That's right.
this election, Democrats and Republicans, is not about Democrats and Republicans. It's about fascism or democracy. And Project 2025 is fascism. I'm here to tell you right now. I mean, it's
And
925 pages of fascism.
And the Supreme Court's rulings in this last session are going to make it that much easier for them
Right.
to enact all
Right.
900 pages of that thing.
Exactly. So it's absolutely mission critical that this election be framed in those terms.
Yeah.
Right? It isn't Biden versus Trump. It's really not. It's democracy versus fascism. And that's what you're voting for in this election. And for it to be framed any other way is just flat wrong.
Yeah.
And so, and if you don't believe it, then you should have looked at some of these speeches at the RNC that were absolutely, I mean, Carrie Lake, who pointed out the press and said, basically, welcomed everybody but you guys.
Carrie Lake, who until recent years was a television journalist.
Right. Exactly. And so here she is. That was one of those moments that made my jaw drop. And I will confess, I did not watch that much of this convention because my blood pressure comes first.
I thought that the MSNBC coverage was actually quite merciful in that they were talking through most of it.
Yeah. So they
only cut to the most important bits,
Right. And because of that, I just put I put it in my ear. I listened on Sirius XM so I could do something else while I was listening. And not have
unfortunately what they were talking about was Joe Biden being pushed out, but
no, and we're gonna get to that, but not yet. Right.
I know.
And
how about Peter Navarro showing up, right after he was released? This morning I woke up in a federal prison and yay!
Right. And what was wild about that was how well he was received by the crowd.
Yes.
It wasn't just that he gave that speech. It was that the crowd was so with him on it.
They love their felons.
Yeah.
Paul Manafort, Roger Stone.
Right? And Peter Navarro. So yeah, Peter Navarro just made himself out to be the biggest martyr and then started talking with the xenophobic, hate-filled speech where they're waving the mass deportation now signs. It was awful. I mean,
I think California dodged a bullet when Peter Navarro lost his congressional election in 1992 as a Democrat.
Thank God. Yeah. That guy is I remember when he was appointed, he's a nut. He really is.
Yeah.
And most of them are, but yeah. So, and one of the things that was notable about this Republican convention was how many people were not there. Like how many people that are at least nominally Republican at this point were, and weren't there. But then Nikki Haley showed up. I didn't see or hear Ron DeSantis, so he must have been, I didn't even hear anything about him. So he must have been very nondescript, but Nikki Haley, right. Nikki Haley, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's like, how do you, after everything that you did, and she very successfully carved a niche for herself outside of the Trump lane. There was a Nikki Haley lane and it went all the way through the primaries. And how at the end of that do you then say, I wholeheartedly endorse Donald Trump? I don't understand that. She bent the knee and was happy to do it. And what is she going to get from it? Nothing. I mean, not a thing.
She lives to run another day.
I don't think that her supporters are going to be behind her after she did what she did. The people that the people that were voting for her were absolute never Trumpers. They did not want to vote for him, and they did not want to support him. And there's still a lot of them out there. I don't know. I think it's just wild. But we haven't even talked about JD Vance.
Oh God.
I mean, they picked the best for us.
They did.
They did.
It is part of this wackadoodle confidence that they all have. They've got an attitude like they have already won the election, and they don't need to appeal to people outside their base.
Well,
So they
there's
double
something to
down
be
on it.
said for that. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for exuding confidence in your candidate and your
Yeah,
position.
because that's part of what's freaking out the Democrats is
Yeah,
that they are so overly confident.
and we'll get to that.
I know.
Excuse me. But yeah,
it is freaky. They, I know that the majority of Americans do not want fascism, do not want Project 2025, do not want, him to come back, right?
right.
And so I am wondering what dirty tricks they've got up their sleeve. We know that they are going to be doing the, challenging everything legally that they can, because that's where they've put their money. They have no ground game. Their money is all going into attorneys.
Well, yes, and some of the things that are disturbing are things like instructing their election officials not to certify any election, because certifying any election suggests that all elections are legit. And that's the thing that worries me the most. I mean, this is a close race. There's no question about it. The real question is, how are they going to come at it? Are they going to try to throw this into the House? And I actually think that they are. I mean, I think that's what they're trying to do. And I don't know. It's super frustrating to me right now that I know that they're doing this, and almost our single line of defense against what they're doing is Mark Elias, who's doing a great job. But I don't have faith in courts anymore because of what happened with Eileen Cannon, who we've not discussed either, and the Supreme Court. It's super frustrating to me that we're in this position, and I don't know what to tell you about why they're confident, but I do know that we need to get our shit together and be equally as confident now, not a month from now, not at this convention. It needs to be now. And it's NAOW now. So Aliza is trying to get in here, but she's
here, but I can't get my camera to work.
Do you have the right one selected?
I think so. Well, it says some things can't be changed while you're recording. So
when you come in, you have to do it before you get in.
Okay. I guess I'll try to leave and come back again. I hope I didn't mess anything up when I left.
You didn't.
You didn't mess anything up.
All right. I'm going to leave and come back.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk about JD Vance.
Yeah.
We keep digressing.
That's JD Vance. First of all, I just love that JD Vance is stirring up all of the wingers, because he has an immigrant wife, or the wife who's the daughter of immigrants, I guess is what it is. Right. And
she's an anchor baby.
He's Indian
in their view.
Yeah, and there's the picture of him from their wedding with him in the traditional garb.
Yeah.
All the things, and yeah, so that's interesting to me from the standpoint of how they're reacting to it. It's fine with me that he has an Indian wife. I don't care about that.
I think she's kind of fascinating, even if she did clerk for Roberts and Kavanaugh.
Yeah, well, I mean, she came up through the same legal pipeline that he did, the conservative legal pipeline, and then although she went to work for a progressive law firm, so
she's interesting.
Yeah, and she quit her job when he was so I don't know what to say, but anyway, but he has no experience at literally anything.
No,
that's what I think is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he has 18 months in the Senate, and that's it. And he barely won the Senate in Ohio. And he hasn't done much in the Senate except to serve the Silicon Valley billionaires, right?
Yeah.
Which he comes from that.
Peter Thiel's boy.
Right. Peter Thiel's boy. That's what I like to, he's just, and I think that that's why he's there, is
That is
because Peter
exactly
Thiel
what
and Elon Musk
Mhm.
said, if you go with him, we'll pledge money to the campaign. Thiel was going to stay on the sidelines. There she is. Yay.
She is. Hi, Aliza. Oh, now we can't hear you.
Oh no. I think she can fix that.
I think she can.
Yeah. So anyway, while she's fixing that, he is definitely why they gave the money. And I guess Elon Musk's $45 million a month is to get people to vote by mail. The thing that Trump tells them not to do. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting. I don't believe a word Elon Musk says anyway.
I don't either. Speak, Aliza. Nope.
No, can't hear you.
So anyway, the thing though that really in my mind is going to stir up our side is hard support for a nationwide abortion ban.
Yeah.
Like he is unyielding on that. He wants a nationwide abortion.
Aliza wants to talk now.
know.
Aliza really wants to tell us what she thinks of this.
Want to try again? Coming in and coming out? Okay. It's okay.
Oh, we could try lip reading.
Yeah. Well, so and he's just he does do a good job as a surrogate on the media, I will say, for the Republicans, but he's also does a great job for the rest of us, like, because we can nail him on all his lies constantly. I
can't wait for Kamala Harris to debate.
Oh my God. He doesn't want to debate her.
Well, because he's not sure that she's going to be the vice presidential candidate.
Okay, we may be going down the road where we have to get into this soon, but yeah. So there's that. And it's just all mind-boggling. So it's interesting. I really thought it would be Burgum.
I did too.
But Trump is so into like marketing and everything, and Trump Vance works better than Trump Burgum.
Yeah.
And okay, there's Aliza. We see the video.
Hello.
Yeehaw.
So what you've missed is we're talking about the Republican convention and the fact that for the first time in 40 years, the words right to life or abortion do not appear in the Republican platform.
And they didn't say them at the convention. I mean, they
Wow.
did a whole word search for everybody. And the word abortion and right to life was not part of the convention at all, which left.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because they're trying to bury it. They know that that's a bad issue for them.
Yeah.
But so he's not going to be able to Trump isn't going to be able to resist bragging about
overturning Roe
v. Wade. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's not going to. And they're not going to be able to get away from Project 2025.
Exactly.
Even if they rename it Agent 47.
Yeah.
Which is something I thought I saw go across my.
Well, that's
I didn't know if that was a joke or not. But
yeah, that's like the campaign thing that they're letting.
So that is the video version of the book version of Project 2025. Yeah. It's a thing.
It isn't. It wasn't a joke. Okay.
It's not a joke, and that
because it sounds like a toxic. It sounds like a toxin you spray on unsuspecting citizens, which it actually
is. Yeah, it is. So, and then if you take that and you compare it with the 20 bullet point platform that they adopted that Trump wrote, basically that 20-point platform.
Well, he didn't write it.
Dovetails. No, well, he wrote the words to it. He did. I mean, read it. You can tell that he did.
Oh, really? Is it
What
poorly
weird
written?
capitalizations?
Yeah. So that dovetails with the videos and the Project 2025. So there's really not any daylight between any of those.
Right,
They're all the same.
And don't forget that J.D. Vance doesn't even want no-fault divorce.
Right.
Oh, no, he does not.
He's women in abusive marriages need to stay in that marriage for the sake of the children.
Right. And so I need to note
and be real, for the sake of the husband, I mean, because they need a punching bag to get their emotions out on, don't they?
Yeah,
exactly. Think of the men after all.
we should note that this week marks the week that women could finally get credit cards, starting in July of 1974.
Yeah.
Before that,
I don't know why. Yeah, not 72. Yeah, 74.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it is the 50th anniversary of women getting credit cards in their name.
Right.
Yeah.
All by themselves.
They turned 18.
All by themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I was 5 and my mother did not let me go get a credit card no matter how hard I tried.
Well, it mattered to my mom because my dad was one of those that used her as a punching bag. And so she wanted to get out, and she had her own job and her own money, but he controlled it all. So she was able to get a credit card, and that's how she got out.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Was the me.
And this is the world that the Republicans want to return us to.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going there.
No.
So I am not going there.
And I don't want my daughters to be there either.
Yeah. So with that, we should probably turn our heads to what the hell is going on with these Democrats.
What the hell is going on with the media? I don't, because I've had NPR on, just the local classical music station, not the news NPR, but the classical music station, all day long. And I just went in there while I was paying the guy who replaced my HVAC, and it happened to be the top of the hour. It was 5:00 my time, and I'm signing all the forms, and the snotty British lady who reads the news at the top of the hour said the literal words, as if it were fact. Biden is considering stepping aside, but and I'm like, no, he's not. He's not considering stepping aside. He's staying in the damn. She was saying it as if it were fact, and and I almost and I said that out loud in front of the contractor, and he started laughing because I was like he knew I was pissed, and I think he agreed with me too. I'm like, this is so stupid. He's not going anywhere. I can't contain my disdain and disgust for for all
everybody
news media right now.
I'm with you right there. I'm beside you. This morning, the Biden campaign put out a memo, and it was basically Project 2025 and the voters who will decide this election. And they went through step by step in the swing states, what, the organizations they have, what they're doing, how they're getting out the vote, and how they win. It's a pathway to victory, right? And they say at the end of this, they say Joe Biden has made it more than clear. He's in this race and he's in it to win it. Moreover, he's the presumptive nominee. There is no plan for an alternative nominee. In a few short weeks, Joe Biden will be the official nominee. It is high past time we stop fighting one another. The only person who wins when we fight is Donald Trump. And that should have ended it. And then you had Hakeem Jeffries come out and say, Biden's our guy, right? That's what he said. But the media, I've never, honest to God, not even in Nixon, have I ever seen the media in this kind of it's not even a feeding frenzy at this point. It's more of a crusade
It's
to
like a
base that.
rolling campaign is the way you
Yeah.
described it earlier,
It is.
Karoli.
It is a campaign. It is a controlled, organized campaign to evoke an outcome that the media wants.
Right.
The media
To influence the
and
election.
the donors.
Right. And
This is the wealthy donors.
this is the Jeffrey Katzenbergs and
Actually, Katzenberg I read that he was urging donors to stay the course with Biden.
Oh, well, that's new because he was one of the ones that was talking about him freezing everything. So,
and then yesterday when they said that the Clintons and Jeffrey Katzenberg were urging donors to stay the course.
Good.
But it's hard to know anything for sure in this environment, Karoli.
Right. I know.
I don't believe anything I see in any news organization coming out of any news organization anymore. Anytime somebody posts something on Facebook, on Twitter, on any time, whether it's from the Atlantic or whether it's from the Nation or the New York Times or anything, I say I don't believe it. It is biased and it has an agenda and it wants you to react a certain way. It is intended to evoke panic and it is intended to evoke uncertainty and lack of confidence in the person that millions of people have already cast their vote in the primaries to be the Democratic nominee.
Right. And let me give you an example, just so you know, so Jake Sherman's outfit, Punchbowl News, they're one of the worst. They're right up,
they're definitely one of the worst.
They're up there with Politico. So if you saw Hakeem Jeffries speak today, what he said specifically was, Biden is our guy. I'm standing behind Biden. It wasn't at all equivocal. And what Jake Sherman did, or this guy wasn't Jake Sherman, but it was somebody
his outfit,
did was say Hakeem Jeffries refuses to endorse Joe Biden or something to that effect. Right. I mean, it was like he won't answer the question about whether he won't answer the question about whether Biden should stay in the race. That's what it was. And I'm like, that isn't a valid question when he's saying Biden is my guy. I'm standing behind him. You can infer from that he doesn't want Biden to drop out of the race, right? I mean, this is
exactly like all these people who keep saying, as soon as Joe Biden makes a decision, Joe Biden has made his decision, and he keeps telling you what his decision is.
Well, that's exactly what the NPR ladies say. Joe Biden is weighing is considering stepping down. And I'm like, no, he is not. It was a bald-faced lie. He is not considering stepping down right now.
But in this situation where so many people are trying to force him out, he would be remiss if he did not look at all the options. And the fact that he may be discussing all the options in private with his family does not mean he is planning to exit. It means
he could be looking at the options with the people that want him to step down or step aside. He could say, come in, tell me, make your best argument.
Yeah.
That's disgusting for them.
The man is going to look at both sides just in case he's not seeing something. They keep saying that he's stubborn and he can't see. No, he's listening to them and weighing what they're saying.
I think he was, but I think this memo was this is my path to victory memo. And this, you wanted a path to victory. Here you go. Here it is.
Yep.
And everything. I also will say that there's a policy core happening here, in my opinion, right? I mean, the policy core that's happening is that Biden has been very progressive on his policies. He's been one of the most progressive presidents probably of all time.
Yeah.
But certainly he's been and is running on a progressive platform, things like cementing in the child tax credit and other pieces like that, and forgiving student debt, and all these things. So he's doing all that's the policies, and those policies are not popular with rich people who would rather have a tax cut.
The rich people thought they elected a centrist in 2020. And
Yeah.
what they got was someone who was center left.
Right.
And this is why you've got Ilhan Omar and AOC and Bernie Sanders all
full-throated. Talk about full-throated endorsements.
Yeah.
And AOC is out there like speaking the truth and speaking it. Like I told Tim last night, AOC is the one who's making sense. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. And I for sure never thought I would hear myself say that, because I am not a fan. And
I know you're not.
But I will say, when that not being a fan of somebody is not going to stop me from saying when they're right or doing the right thing. And and she is right, and Bernie Sanders is right, and John Fetterman, who has turned out to be a delightful surprise in my eyes as a senator, is absolutely right. All of these people that the far left thought were their people are coming out saying, don't you dare replace, what are you, idiots?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to be far left to see the success of this administration.
It's
and
just
we reward
men who
he is doing the job,
he can. And here's the other thing. Okay. And you alluded to this in your intro, Donna, which is, it isn't just about Biden. It is about our Black
Kamala Harris.
Vice President, Kamala Harris. And I mean, there are people, I've seen it in the news, who don't want to just shove Biden out. They want to shove her out too. And then have some like fantasy, I don't know, like
witnesship
Survivor convention or something, where you throw everybody's name out there and let it be a free for all, and everything. It's so
bad politics. It's just bad politics.
It is insane politics. It's not even bad politics. It's like, you just lost your mind and you want to like do this all in public. No, I don't think so.
And they want to turn away our base, our most dependable voters, Black women. You just see 1,400 Black women leaders wrote that letter in support of Joe Biden. I'm sorry.
How dare we cast aside their voices? How dare we not listen to them? They built this fucking country for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unwilling, under duress, enslaved. And we have the fucking nerve to not listen to them now.
I know. Well, not us. We're listening.
I understand that. I'm saying the royal us. The white population, the white men who are responsible for the oppression of these women, have the nerve to not listen to them now when they are saying, keep this guy, he's our guy. It's just the unmitigated gall of these men.
I agree.
And some women, but mostly men.
And I don't understand our elected people doing it. I get the donors do it. I get that media do it, but he didn't. Jamie Raskin's letter was very carefully worded. He did not ask Biden to step down. He just asked him to consider and make a decision.
It was so pointed. It was so pointed. I mean,
there is polling going on behind the scenes. Now, we don't trust the polls, but and there's a lot of reporting that Nancy Pelosi is pulling strings, and that's why.
And I don't understand that either. That is just so out of character for her. Huh?
She is so smart. That there is stuff we're not seeing.
Yeah.
There's stuff. I just don't know how they can look at the polls, and 538 has us as winning the electoral college right now.
Right.
So I don't know how they can look.
% chance of winning. So yeah.
If you look at this 50-50 polls that haven't changed, which is disturbing. We'd like to be 10 points ahead.
Sure.
Yes.
But what is it that their internals are telling them, and who is answering the pollsters' phone calls?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Right. And so I don't know the answer to that. I know that my representative has stood firm and not written a letter. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wrote to her, and I did it at her official congressional address, which I shouldn't have done. But
why shouldn't we do that?
Because the Hatch Act, I think it's the Hatch Act, keeps them from. You're not supposed to mix election and policy stuff together.
Right, you have to write to the campaign office.
I should have written to the campaign office, but I didn't have an address.
So make a note of this. So if we want to write to our representatives and our senators
about
their campaign address,
we have to write to their campaign address, not to their official office. Right. Okay.
And like Donna posted yesterday that she sent a message to Joe Biden through the White House address to get better, and I did too, and I put stand firm. I didn't say any more than that. It said stand firm, and then, we appreciate everything you've done. Feel better. And
I basically said, I appreciate you. And I want you, please get better. And then today I texted the campaign.
Right.
With words of support. They now have a phone number for you to text the campaign.
I haven't seen that. Can you get that phone number and put it up on the Facebook page? Because
I will do that.
I would like to see that.
That means they get your number and they can text you like crazy, just so you know.
But they're already.
And you can write stop and they'll stop.
That's what I've been doing. So yeah. But I think at this point, any way that we can lift up our voices and support Joe Biden, we should, because this is not, first of all, this election is democracy or fascism. It's not Biden or Trump. Okay. It's just not. That's number one. Number two, Joe Biden is perfectly capable of doing his job. He's shown it over and over and over again. He had a shitty debate, but again, read the transcript. He wasn't he wasn't as unintelligible as everybody thinks he was. He just wasn't. If you read the transcript, you can tell.
Every public appearance and interview he's had since then, he has been on his game.
Yes. And his press conference was, after the NATO, it was amazing. I mean, and there was no scripting there. I mean, that was whatever they asked. His command of the whole foreign policy landscape is so deep that it would be hard to compare that to anybody, much less Trump.
Yeah.
So,
92 minutes of shark stories and stuff. I mean,
right. Yeah. and the late great Hannibal Lecter. God. He did that at the convention last night. He did that.
He did that.
I mean, if you just take him at face value, the guy is an entertainer who wants to get his lawsuits gone, his felony convictions and stuff dropped. So, we haven't even talked about Eileen Cannon.
No,
right. Who should be disbarred and impeacched.
But I'll settle for her being thrown off the case after it gets appealed.
Yeah.
When it's appealed.
Well, he's appealing it.
He's appealing,
and hopefully that'll get her tossed off the case. The other thing he could do, I read, is that he could just hand it off to the U.S. attorney in D.C. and have it filed in D.C.
Yeah, but
I have a question, a technical question. Will her losing an appeal automatically set into motion her being removed from the bench?
No, he has to ask for it. Not from the
Jack Smith has to ask for it.
Yeah, and he will. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, of course. I just didn't know how, in terms of how things worked.
But if she's reversed 3 times, chances are he would win on asking that.
Got it.
Okay. And just her timing of this on Monday, throwing out the whole case.
It was such a blatant and
It was such a
cynical.
sympathy play. It was so.
No, it was just like a kickoff to the convention. Like, here's a gift for you to kick off your convention. It was so blatantly political and not at all.
And speaking of political and news organizations outright lying, continuing to say that he was shot. He wasn't shot.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I thought he was. I thought it was known that he was hit by shards of the teleprompter.
We don't know. No,
we don't know that for sure. We do know that the cops that were in the area that he was in also were injured by shrapnel. So, and there has been reports that it was shrapnel that from the teleprompter or from the. I've also heard from the jumbotron that hit him. And it could possibly be that, but we don't know because they haven't given us a report. Because we don't have an official report.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, nothing. We crickets.
So again, I don't believe anything from,
Well, even if he was grazed by the bullet, that is not being shot. Right? I mean, there's a difference between being shot and being grazed. And I still am not sure that I also buy the grazed thing because I know that for sure he did react to something, but it could have been anything. I mean, it could have been. And yes, the New York Times has a picture of a bullet whizzing by that is authentic. That's true. Yeah. But we don't have a timestamp on that picture that jives with when he grabbed his ear. So that could have been.
But we know that there was blood. We've got the picture of him down,
And
but service around him.
One of the things that I really, really couldn't believe, and on Monday, the Secret Service director is going to be in front of Congress. And if I was questioning her, I'd say, how in the hell is it that you let him stand up and do the whole fist raise thing.
Fight. Yeah.
When there was an active shooter, you may have known the shooter was down, but nobody else did, right? Everybody was still down.
You didn't know if there was another one.
Right. Or anything else.
The situation certainly wasn't under control at the time.
And he did it twice. He did it once at the podium and once getting into the van with the raised fist. And of course, then now you have that ridiculous picture of him with the flag flying behind him and, all that. And it's just, again, I'm glad
he had to go back and get his shoe.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was with the shoe either. I mean, I would like to know, that is like a question I'd like to have answered, but we must have an answer to whether or not it was a graze bullet, a bullet graze, or whether it was shrapnel that hit him. Either way, I'm glad he wasn't hit by a bullet.
Well, it has been an hour.
It has? Oh.
No. Really?
With the ad.
Yeah.
With the ad in here. So we could continue talk. I mean,
which ad? I'm sorry.
You missed it. We're playing Katrina Christiansen's ad from last week.
Yay.
We got it. So we played that at the beginning.
Nice. Okay. So, how much fun was that to talk to her? What a great lady. Sorry if you talked about her at the beginning, I'm sure.
We did. Yeah, but that's okay. We can talk about her again.
But I wasn't here, and I just want to say, I want to add my chorus of support to yours. That she was terrific, and I donated to her campaign. And
I did too.
I really, my fingers are crossed for her. I hope people come out.
That'd be a nice seat to win.
Yeah. I mean, if you want somebody who's going to help Biden implement more of his policies, somebody like her is who you want.
Right.
Because she's on board with it. And I was so impressed with her. And she's up by 2 points right now.
Yeah.
If you believe the polls at all,
yeah.
And I don't know, it's hard. I mean, I think North Dakota's got to be a hard state to poll. But knowing that the Native American vote isn't suppressed this round should help.
That should help. For sure.
And, it's one of those states, it's low population, but they've had Democrats. They had Democrats for years.
Yeah.
Before, as senators. So she's
It's
got
possible. It's not an out.
Kevin
Yeah.
Kramer hasn't done anything. I mean, really, he hasn't done anything. So she's got a pretty wide.
It's good. It's
yeah,
good.
it's all good.
And I love ending on a hopeful note.
For
Me too.
sure. Yeah, if you can donate to all the Democrats that are in tight races, on the Senate races, Tester, Ohio, Sherrod Brown.
Even if you're angry at them, donate to them anyway, because they are the only thing that stands between democracy and Chief Justice Aileen Cannon. Anyway, that is our show for the week. Join us next time on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the Demcast family of podcasts.